What is laughter? Why do people laugh? The actual steak was good. The onions were good. The cheese whiz was good. Why don't you guys toast the bread so it could all meld together?
Let's fucking go.
Yeah,
Bow.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Pranzata Podcast. This is your host, Andrea Pranzatelli. This is episode number 141 on the Pranzata Podcast on YouTube. We have another guest today. This is Lil Jough. He is a stand-up comedian from Philadelphia. I just saw him perform for the first time yesterday, and he's fucking awesome. So I have some questions prepared for him today. Before we get into it, if you are new to this channel and you like what you hear today, please don't forget to hit subscribe. It is my mission to become a full-time podcaster, and every single subscriber helps me get closer to reaching the goal of that mission. Okay, so my first question for you, I like to stalk my guests' Instagram to come up with interesting questions. So it's not like the same comedy questions over and over. I'm like,
of course,
what's different about this person? I saw you did a lot of food stuff.
Yeah.
So what do we call that? Is that called Muckbang? Like what do we call that?
I don't think it's a mukbang, because isn't that like when they just like eat a lot of food?
Is that what that is? What
I'm
are you
sure.
doing? Is this like a fetish thing that you're doing? Like
No. No. So I'm just basically just like high as hell, just staring into the camera and just stuffing my face with food.
Yeah.
And I like did it when like back in like middle school and stuff like that. When I like first started smoking weed.
Yeah.
And I would just like get super high, and I just started doing it on Snapchat.
Yeah.
And like just snacking on video.
Yeah.
And people were like, yo, like I really like that.
Really?
So I was like, yeah, like they just like those types of videos.
What do people, that was actually my next question for you.
Yeah.
Why do people like that so much? I find it interesting because like I watched the mukbang ones and I kind of like it. Like I'll watch like stand-up comedians that I like. There's this one that I really like called Trailer Trash Tammy, and she does mukbang videos.
Hey guys, Tammy here, and I got my cousin Crystal with me today. We're at Dairy Queen.
But like, what's the psychology? Like, what do people get out of that?
I honestly, I have no
That's
idea.
why I'm like, I think it's a fetish.
I think it's just like something that they can't look away from. You know, I don't know.
Okay, so I just learned how to do reaction video things. So we're gonna look at one of your mukbangs. One of your
Hell yeah.
We're gonna look at one right
Bow.
now. So let's get you up on Instagram here. So let's go, Lil Jough.
Little joke.
So I'm gonna randomly select one. So let's see. We got the loaded tots here. Pork mooncake. All right, I'm going for the pork mooncake. That sounds fun. Let's get the sound on.
I just took a break. Okay. And now it's back to work.
Yeah, it's really not much to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm waiting for there to be, okay, we can stop the recording. I'm waiting for there to be like okay, I'm trying this at this reaction. So it's literally just you stuffing your face on camera.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Dude,
it.
it's gotta be a fetish thing. I don't see like people like it so much. It's gotta be like something, or you know what? I was talking about this with somebody the other day. People are into the pimple popping thing too. Are you into that?
No.
I'm not into that, but that's like another thing where some people have an obsession with that.
Yeah.
Like they need to see, it's like a tension and release or something like that. Super interesting.
No, so I know like some people have told me that they like it, but a lot of people have told me that like it grosses them out or something like that too. So I've got a lot of
The
different
pimple
reactions.
one or the food one?
Oh no, with like the food videos
Really?
and stuff.
Why,
Yeah.
why does it gross them out?
I guess just because like I'm just like staring into them like through the camera and like just stuffing my face. It's just like,
Let's
dude,
do
it's
one
like
more.
eerie.
We got to
It's
do
a
one
little
more.
eerie.
All right, we got to get one more going on over here. So that's your style for every one of these videos.
Yeah,
Like-
they all just like, you know, different foods. I try to pick like some foods that I never ate before.
Wawa glazed twist. Let's see what's going on. I think I'm gonna try this. This is interesting.
It's really good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I can see why that would freak some people out. That's
Yeah.
like a love or hate type of thing for that over there.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So my next question for you. So if we're getting on food, you've been living in this area your whole life, or like have you been living in the South Jersey, Philly area your whole life?
Born and raised in South Jersey.
Okay.
So like when I came to do comedy, that's where I started getting into like Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still live in South Jersey right now.
So based on those videos, I'm assuming you're like a big food person. Like, have you tried a lot of different restaurants and food in Philly?
I can't say that I tried a lot of different ones, but like just like my family, we love food.
Yeah.
And I'm just hard to like reach out and like try new places because I'm very disappointed if I don't like my food. So like I just always go for like the same places that I know I'm gonna like.
Dude, I did that the other day. Like not with restaurants, but with a particular dish. There's one place in this area that I'm not going to say who they are because they're honestly not that great. They're just okay. I don't want to diss them, but they're like a very generic cheesesteak place. And I go there to get cheesesteaks usually.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try chicken wings today. And they were the most disgusting chicken wings. I'm not going to name who they are.
See?
They were the most disgusting chicken wings of my life. And I remember like, I mean, it's not that expensive, but I remember feeling like depressed almost. Like,
yeah,
I was, like,
it's very upsetting because like we all have to eat. We all got to do it. And we're all spending money to eat something that we didn't enjoy. That's just very upsetting. Especially
when it's like naughty food. Cause like I'm a health nut. Like when I cook from home, I'm always using like organic, like kale and quinoa and grass-fed beef and stuff. So when I go out for like a cheesesteak or chicken wings, that's like my naughty little treat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I waste that on disgusting food, it's like particularly depressing because I'm like, I'm going to feel guilty eating this because I'm a health nut and now I can't do this for like another week without wanting to kill myself. So it's a huge waste.
Yeah, it's definitely very disappointing.
It's interesting how it's like never a good idea to like try a new dish at a place you like, you know?
Yeah, no, like, so like these videos, I guess, like my eating videos were a way for me to branch out and like try new places and stuff. Yeah. I even try to get people to give me recommendations. I didn't get that many. But so like that was just my like process, my thought process of like, all right, I'm going to get new foods and just go for it. Just stuff it in my face and see if I like it.
Okay. So I've only been living in Philly for about a year, like a little over a year at this point. What's the best pizza in Philly?
So I've only really tried like 2 or 3 places. I went to Fairmount Pizza and Grill. That one's really good. They have huge slices. Okay. So like one is like probably equivalent to like a normal like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then I do go to, I think it's called Del Rossi's.
Rossi's.
Have you heard that? It's like a cheesesteak pizza company.
I think I've heard of it.
There's like 3 Del's, so like I keep forgetting which one, but it's on 4th Street. Okay. And that one, I just had a regular.
Are they known? Like they're known for their pizza, or you in particular just found it and like it?
I'm pretty sure they're probably known for their pizza, and they say that they're a cheesesteak and pizza company. Yeah, and it's all good.
The cheesesteak and the pizza,
both
good.
Of them. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't want to get on cheesesteak talk because I'm like, that's so cliche because it's Philly, but I actually do have a question about that. So I'm trying to be a real Philly resident, right? Like I need to get Eagles shirts, like I need to get Eagles hats and stuff. And everyone was like, the best cheesesteak in Philly, like if you want to get like the real classic Philly cheesesteak, you have to go to, they said Pat's and Gino's in South Philly. Or you're shaking your head no, right? All right, I'm going to get kicked out of Philly for saying this, but I was really excited to try it. I'm like, I'm going to be a real Philly resident. I'm going to try. I went to Pat's and I'm like, why don't they toast the bread?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, you agree with me, right?
Honestly, yeah. Because like I didn't know until I had one that was toasted that I was like, oh, that's what they're missing.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I asked them, I'm like, can you toast this for me? They're like, we don't do that. And then I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, this is the best place in Philly and they don't toast it. And I asked around, I'm like, what's up with that? And they're like, that's the classic way. So like when you come to Philly to get a Philly cheesesteak, like if you want it to be the classic old school Italian way, the bread is just like kind of cold. It's like
I mean, I get that, like, yeah, it's the original cheesesteak, but we got to up it up now.
Yeah. Okay? And I was like, that's a bummer. Like they can't, and you can't even request it. Like they're like, no, like they look at you like you're like you're like an
how
asshole.
hard is that?
Yeah.
Hard, like put it in the toaster or like in the oven for a second.
I think it's an insult to them. Like they're like, you're insulting our style. Like we're not doing that kind of thing.
No, so I'm not even like from Philly, but even I know not to tell somebody to go to Pat's or Gino's for like the one of the best cheesesteaks in the city.
I will say I did like the cheese whiz thing, and I'm like a health nut, so the idea of that grosses me out, but it was actually really good. Like I tried it with fries and it was good. Like that's the thing, the actual steak was good, the onions were good, the cheese whiz was good, but I'm like, why don't you guys like toast the bread so it could all meld together instead of it being like good meat and a side of bread, you know?
Do you like seeded rolls?
I think I might, but someone else recommended me another place that has seated rolls where they're like, it's the best one. They said it was at Reading Terminal. Is that the same one you're thinking of?
No, I know it's not. I've never been to Reading Terminal.
Oh, okay. If you're dude, if you want to do this, go to Reading Terminal. Like if you want to do the food videos, you gotta go. It's a mall. It's like a fat person's drink. Like I'm actually a fat person on the inside. Like that's why I'm a health nut, because I have to control. Yeah, I was actually gonna ask you that. I'm like, if you eat all that food, like does the food go? You're in pretty good shape for a fat person.
Just being able in shape, that's like my little like, I get to eat whatever I want if I can like do the little workouts. So yeah.
You work out, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, no, if you are a fat person at heart, if you're not fat on the outside and you're a fat person at heart, or either or, you are fat on the outside, Reading Terminal is a mall of food. Like it's like an entire, like everything you imagined is there. And supposedly there's a seated roll cheesesteak place that someone recommended I try. They're like, don't go to Pat's or Gina's, go there. So I'm gonna try
the place I mentioned. I think it's Del Rossi's. Yeah. They toast their bun and it automatically comes with a seated roll. Yeah. And the first time I got it, I was like, all right, cool, seated. And I tried it. I was like, I don't think I can go back to a regular unseated, not toasted bun. Like it's amazing. I think
a seated bun would be gross if it wasn't toasted, but if it was toasted, it would be really good.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, I can see your thought process there. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have some more questions for you. Moving on from food, I also saw on your profile that you also are an actor.
Yeah.
Did you start acting before stand-up?
Yes.
Okay. And did you go to acting school? Like, how did that work?
So, like, a buddy of mine, like, started getting into acting classes, and, like, I've always wanted to act. So I was like, can you help me out, like, to, like, get started? And I got into, like, pretty much the same company. I think it's called, like, John Casablanca's. Like, their acting classes. And then, like, after I take those acting classes, they signed us to their mother agency. It's called MTM, Model and Talent Management. And then from there, they would send me some gigs to apply for. But I also mainly got a lot of stuff off of Backstage.
Okay.
Do you know about Backstage?
No.
It's like it's just like a platform like that like independent people can like they're looking for actors, or like even like Netflix uses them for like background people, just like low end roles.
Have you ever gotten a role in a film or anything, like a pretty big film as an extra or anything like that?
So I did end up on, what was it called? It was on FX. The new, it's called Gladiators, and it covers Aaron Hernandez. Do you remember him? The football player?
No.
He's a football player that killed himself, basically, at the end.
You were that?
No. I was actually right there. First FX appearance.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
okay,
I did a video about it.
That's so funny that I was right there. Okay.
I'm way better at the showing than explaining.
Here we go. Ready?
On FX about Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
I got on that. Dope as fuck. Yeah. You're in it? So I don't know yet. Okay, so they decked it out to make it look like we were in Gainesville, Florida. One part I'm in, he walks up, I just go up right to him with a flyer.
And you're the guy who hands them?
And I'm the guy who hands it to him, right? The reason why I'm the guy who hands it to him is because standing next to like some PA, and someone on the radio was like, hey, the guy who's handing him the flyer, the guy's too tall. Because the actual actor is not as tall as actually. So they needed a smaller guy. The dude literally looked like this. He was like, I got it. And I did it. It seems important enough to not cut out. I'm just hoping. I actually didn't know what I was applying for because they were so vague about it. First day, first scene. They're like, hey, like, come do this for us, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. Afterwards, we're eating lunch. We're getting changed. They, like, changed us like we were dolls. They decked us all out like it was 2006, 2007. Just having to ask somebody in the line next to me, I was like, yo, what is this for? And they were like, this is for an FX show. I was like, what? If I knew about that during that shot, I would have been super nervous. Come to find out that it's going to be for an FX show about Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, it just came out last fall, I think.
Dude, that's wild. So it was probably a blessing in disguise that you didn't know what you were doing, because then you were able to just kind of be yourself and be relaxed. And they specifically needed a shorter person.
Yeah, literally.
That's cool. So like, yeah, I guess like anybody could do acting or modeling, because like they might need certain people for certain roles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there used to be like way tighter guidelines for like models and stuff. I mean, models still like tight. Like they have to be a certain height, a certain weight, and all that stuff. But acting like, you can be anybody, look like anything now, and they'll need you.
I don't think I could ever do modeling because I have tattoos. Like, do you think tattoos would, like, I've never seen a model with, well, I guess it depends what kind of modeling, but usually like when I've seen modeling ads when they're looking for people, it's always like no tattoos. And I'm like, that's interesting. Like I think for clothing, it might distract, like if they're trying to sell clothing or something like that.
Yeah, I think they'd like definitely a little more lenient. And if anything, if it's possible, they might like use something to cover it up.
Like I know what you're talking about. They have like special makeup that'll cover up tattoos.
Yeah. But like I'd be like shopping on Nike.com and all the dudes like they have like tattoos.
Oh, they
like,
do
the
have tattoos. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe they do have like female. Interesting.
So yeah, I don't really know too much about that, but I've definitely seen it more recently than not.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So my next question about the acting. Are there any tips that you learned from acting that you actually apply to your stand-up? And if so, which ones do you actually like use in your stand-up?
Oh, that's a good question. Any tips? I guess just like staying prepared and like staying ready. Cause like on like a set, you're just waiting for most of the time. Yeah. And like, you know, I would kind of like not get mad, just like be like, all right, like when's it my time? Kind of get anxious and like I'm just like ready to go. So then I know that like at these open mics, it's basically the same thing. Yeah. You're just waiting for hours and hours just to go up for like 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah. So like I've just like used that to just like remind myself like, nah, like you like most of the time, like when we're actually doing our thing, it's not that much time. Yeah. It's all like the process and like just staying ready. Yeah. And just like
so
that's
like rehearsing your lines basically.
Rehearsing and just like being like make sure like you're like there if they call you up on you and stuff like that. Just being like, all right, yep, I'm here.
Your stand-up presence. I feel like I know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask just in case I'm wrong. Would you say your stand-up presence is more like an authentic expression of who you are, or more like an alter ego like character you made of yourself? Like
I think it's more of like actually who I am.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
Because like I do like to just be silly and have fun. Like I've always liked to make people laugh. Like at the bottom line, like that's always what I love to do. Yeah. People always told me like I'm funny. So when I'm up there, like that's just my time to actually just like let loose and try to have fun and make people laugh. Yeah.
I used to do stand-up. I don't know if like I told you that or if someone else told you that, but I got like too conflicted trying to balance out music and comedy. But I thinking about coming back to comedy. And that was always like when I was a comedian, that was always something I was trying to play around with. I'm like, do I just kind of be myself or do I? Because I feel like myself, I'm more introverted. And I'm like, how is that going to lend to stand up? But then again, I do see different style comedians. Like I see some that are very loud and outgoing. Like that one chick yesterday, she was like the more outgoing, like she was like very open type. Mm. I feel like I would be the more like reserved type, like maybe closer to your friend who was on my podcast, Alex. Like he's like more chill up there. And I'm like, that's definitely more me. But I always like wondered, I'm like, man, like, should I try to be a more outspoken version of myself or should I just be chill if I'm chill? You know what I mean?
I think just the best answer is just do you know? Right? Like, don't try to like fake it. Because if you're up there putting on a character, that's just like an obvious character that everybody knows that you're trying to do. Yeah. Then like at some point, it's not going to really work.
That happened to me once. Like I got feedback once and one of my friends was like, I really like your presence on stage. Like when you do stand up, you remind me of like a neurotic female Woody Allen. I'm like, really? And like, I was excited that I finally had like a thing. And then I remember the next time I did a set, I was like leaning into it and I was like trying to be neurotic. And it was one of the worst sets I've ever done in my life. Damn, really? Like, so like, and he's like, no, don't try to be neurotic. Just be yourself. And I'm like, I didn't know I was neurotic. Like that's
like, how do you even like, try to be like replicate that, you know? So without it being authentic.
Yeah. So you just I guess authenticity. But then I don't know, there are some comedians that I've seen perform live and I'm like, you're nothing like that in real life. Like Ali Wong, you know Ali Wong.
I know her. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know her in real life, but I've seen her do interviews like as a normal person as opposed to her stand-up. And I'm like, oh, she's really like soft spoken and like super feminine as just an interview. And then in her actual stand-up, she's like a totally different person. So I guess everybody kind of does it differently. Yeah. You know?
Like everybody has their own lane. They like just form it over time.
Yeah. I just don't think I could be like the come up with a character person. That I don't think it would work for me personally. Okay. So I have some questions about comedy. Mm-hmm. All right. So how long have you been doing stand-up?
Almost about 2 years.
Okay. where you're. Oh, really? Just 2 years? I feel like you're really good then.
Oh,
because I feel like you would have been doing it. No, I'm not. I'm not trying to get brownie points here. Like I actually thought it would have been like 4 years. Like you're really confident on stage. So
thank you.
At least from what I saw yesterday. But okay. So then this is a good question since you've only been doing it 2 years. What's a current element of your stand-up that you want to work on? You're like, okay, I need to improve my crowd work. I need to improve my whatever vocal tone. Like, is there any particular thing that you're like, man, I got to work on this?
I think being comfortable about riffing. I was actually just like writing about this earlier.
Yeah.
So not even like more crowd work. It's just like when in the moment, someone says something, you know, or just like I have a new tag that I just think of.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to be more confident and trying it like right in the moment, you know?
That definitely, I think that might have been one of the reasons, like I have the same problem. And I think that might have been one of the reasons why I was like, I'm just going to focus on music. Cause I would see some of the greats, we were talking about this on the last episode, like someone like Mark Norman, for example, he can make, like, you can give him anything in the moment. He can turn it into brilliant joke writing. And that was like something I felt like I was like, I'm so bad at that. Like, I came prepared with a list of questions just for this podcast. Like, so the idea of just like going with the flow of what goes on in the room is really hard for me. But the best comedians are really good at that.
Yeah.
Like, even some of the people last night, they were like playing around with like, I thought that girl what was her name? The chick who
Romy.
I thought she was really good. Like, she was like making comments on the design of the room or like, interacting with the crowd. I thought she was excellent at that.
You know, I was like, paying attention to her set and she was just riffing, just destroying everybody in the room, the room itself. And I was just like watching, I was like, she's destroying in a different way that I know I'm not confident in.
Exactly.
And like that's a whole different monster.
Yeah. Exactly me. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole different monster that like I need to try next. Just being confident and be like, all right, I think this is funny and I just thought of it. Like, try it out. Yeah,
because you know what? Crowd work clips are so popular now. And I think it's because I think the crowd likes to feel like special or like they're part of it or something. So I think that is a really good style.
Yeah, they want to be a part of the show. And then there's some people who want to be too much a part of the show.
Oh yeah, well that's annoying.
Yeah. But I do like the crowd work stuff and I just got to try it more. Like, I'm just not like that confident. I'll ask one question and then if there's like nothing there, normally you're supposed to maybe ask another one to see if you get something. I'll just back out. Yeah. So like I got to just get more confidence in that.
That's kind of how I was too. I would like try to do it and then I wouldn't have anything to say. Like I would ask a question and they'd give me an answer and I'd be like, okay, next question. And like sometimes it would like accidentally be funny because I'd be like, so what do you do for work? And he'd be like, I'm a psychologist. And I'd be like, okay, what about you? And like people would just start laughing because it looked like I was like dissing him. I'm like, no, I'm just awkward. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you said her name's Rami. She said yesterday that had me dying. She said, is Mario hot or not?
Yeah.
I was like, you nailed it. Cause he's like, like no offense if he's listening, he's gonna be on my podcast, but she fucking nailed that. Everybody in the room was laughing. Cause I'm like, like you look at him and you're like, he's hot, but his voice doesn't match. Like his voice doesn't match the way he looks.
No, that's a new voice. He came up.
Really?
Well, I'm pretty sure like something happened. He could explain it better, but something happened with his throat, and now it's just like more.
Oh no! Is that
like
permanent? Like
I don't know if it's permanent. I think he's still trying to treat it, but again, Mario, you're gonna have to explain it better.
It's just like he's like 24, right? Is that
I think he's 23.
23. Yeah, he's like a young, like really handsome guy, and then you hear his voice, and it's like. You look like you're 23, but your voice sounds like you're 50 years old. Yeah. So she fucking nailed it. She's like, is he hot? I don't know. All right, my next question. Okay. So if you have a joke in your set that doesn't get laughter, but it gets a strong reaction, like, ooh, like, okay, like one time when I was doing stand-up, I had a joke about a guy who was like hitting on me who, said he was into chicks in their 40s. And I was like, well, I'm 30 something. And like, I was expecting people to laugh and everyone was just like, ooh, like, is that something you keep in the set? Or is that something you take out because you're like, no, I don't want that. I want laughter. Or do you like keep it and try to turn it into laughter?
It depends on what I'm going for. Yeah. Most of the time I'll be like, yeah, that's not what I'm like. I'm not trying to go for the ooh. Like I'm a pretty like witty and cute comedian. Like my jokes are like, they're not that hard.
Yeah.
So if I ever really get like a ooh or something like that, I was like, I might take it out.
Yeah.
But I do have one little thing that I have where it just like makes people question, like, did I really just say that?
Yeah.
And I did it last night. I say, I sneak out and to grab a bowl of pizza.
I saw, and I was like, what the fuck? And then,
exactly.
You don't explain it, which is funnier.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you guys heard what I said. Like, whatever reaction they give, I'm like, all right, that's what I was going for. Because there's like, wait, what? And it's also like making sure that they're paying attention too, you know? Like, I didn't lose them at all. So that's like one reaction that I keep for sure.
Do we have this bowl of pizza on your Muckbang channel?
No, but I did post the joke online though.
Was there actually a bowl of pizza, or did you totally make that up?
Oh no, 100%. I did not have plates.
You just like put it in a bowl?
Yeah, I was like, I'll just put it in a bowl and just like whatever. And then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, no one ever has probably put a slice of pizza in a bowl.
I'm sure I have before, but when you say it in stand up, like it makes the person wonder, like, is it little like pieces? Like it sounded like cereal pizza. Like it was weird. Like that's like the imagery I got in my head. But no, I had a joke like that I wanted people to laugh, but instead they just felt bad for me. And I'm like, damn, I don't know if I should like work on this and turn it into a laughter or just like cut it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
I would say like you should probably try to keep working on it. And like after a little bit longer, if you got nowhere, then like stash it and go back to it later. Yeah.
Okay. Who are some of your comedic influences?
So I've always loved like Theo Vaughn, Tom Segura. So the guy who like really solidified it for me to like get into stand up. Have you heard of Ralph Barbosa?
The name is extremely familiar, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's definitely like a newer comedian. But my brother showed me like a clip of him, and his whole bit was just about his lease agreement. He like just got his first like apartment or something like that, and the whole bit was about that. Super simple, but it was so hilarious. And I was like, I feel like I could do that. Like I want to do something like that. Just take anything and just make it funny. Just very like benign. Just make that thing funny.
Like not over. Like there's different types of joke writers where they try to like do like riddles and like they make it really intense. You wanted to just keep it like kind of natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also the biggest one. Well, two biggest ones. My uncle showed me Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious when I was very young, and I watched that a few times by now. So like I've always liked stand up probably because of my uncle. Yeah. And then Cat Williams, he's probably like my number one because like I just relate to him in stature and just like energy. Yeah. Because he just uses the whole stage. Doesn't matter how big the stage is. Yeah. He's very what's it called? Animated. And I feel like I need to do that more, right? Yeah. And just like show more, like do more act outs and stuff. So that's what when I asked the question
about like acting, I was wondering if there was going to be any of that there. Like, oh, I want to apply my like because I don't know if you learned any like how to do gestures and stuff in acting school.
Yeah, so like, I learned some stuff, and like my whole thought process was to like in between acting gigs, I would go like perform stand up and like just try to like do act outs and stuff. Yeah. But then I just fell in love with stand up even more that like I just stopped acting really. So but I need to incorporate.
You're not acting anymore.
I took like a hiatus. I'm definitely going to go back at it and stuff. I definitely still want to act, but I'm just wrapped up into stand up so much that I'm just like I don't even care right now. Like I just like the stand up.
What was it about stand up that drew you in more compared to acting? Like what in particular about it?
Like it's based on me. I'm not waiting around for other people. I can do it as much as I want. And I just know like at the end of the day, I do like making people laugh. Yeah. Like at acting, I was already going out just for like the comedic roles and stuff like that. So I was like, this is related to that and like probably way harder, but I like to make people laugh. So let's just try it.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense because it feels like people who would go into acting would probably have a desire to like be on stage, like they want to be the center, like no one. I feel like nobody becomes people become an actor because they like the art of it, but I think a lot of the times they kind of like want to be, they want to express themselves and they want to be seen. So that makes sense what you said. It's kind of like, well, rather than waiting for the role or waiting for the right time and the right like job that I get with this acting career, you can just go on stage as a stand-up comedian, just do it. Like you can just be center of the stage like immediately.
Yeah, it's just you up there. So like it's only gonna go good if you like prepared and like hopefully the jokes are good too, obviously. But it just draw like I always thought I knew I'd wanted to do it. Yeah. But then like I really tried it the first time. I was like, yes, like this is what I want to do. Like I want to be here instead of like waiting on set for 8 hours.
Right. Okay, that makes so much more sense. I never thought of that, but it's probably far more fulfilling to be a new comedian than it is to be a new actor. Because a new actor, there's probably like a lot of letdowns. Like you do these, like you, what do they call them? Auditions. Like you audition for these roles, you put everything into it. And then there's probably a low percentage of people get selected for these roles. But stand up, like you're already doing, like, even if it's an open mic, you're already doing it. There's already people in the audience listening. So you're not, like you just said, you're not really waiting for it. You know what I mean? You're doing it. I mean, when you're new, you could suck. Like that's a part of it, but you're still learning and you still have an audience and, you know?
Yeah. No, it definitely is like instant gratification, really. Yeah. Like as soon as that hit me once, I was like, I always want to do this.
Do you think comedy is oversaturated now? Or do you think no?
It's definitely, very popular now. And there's been other times like in the past where like, it goes peaks and then it'll go right back down and peak again. We're just at a peak right now. So everybody's trying to, they think they're funny or they think it's another way outside of like acting or like some other entertainment to get into. Then hopefully they can get what they really want. Yeah. So right now I just think we're just going through a peak. Yeah. And everything's oversaturated. I think even podcasting is very oversaturated. But hey, if you want to do it, go ahead. Like
I mean, I've definitely had those moments where I'm like, this is going to be a hard career to break into, but I like doing it. Like I just like doing it. And actually on YouTube, you really only need 1,000 subs to start making money. Now, the hard part is to get watch hours. Like you got to have a certain amount of watch hours to start getting paid to do it. And obviously the more subs you have and like the more fame you have, like the more money you're going to make, obviously. But like there's so many channels on YouTube. Like you can make something, even if it's something small on YouTube. You know what I mean? So
I honestly didn't even I have no idea how to even like monetize on YouTube or anything. Do
you
like
have
that.
A YouTube channel? Or
I just use it to like post my clips that I send to people just to like for a YouTube link, but I like put them on unlisted.
I think I actually was like looking because like, again, I was coming up with questions for you and I clicked on your YouTube and it had like 1 subscriber. I was like, oh, there's this YouTube. Yeah. So the way it works is you need at least 1,000 subs to get monetized, which I have. I have over 1,000 subs now. But in addition,
let's fucking go. Bow.
But in addition to the 1,000 subs, you also need 4,000 watch hours within the past 365 days. So within a year, which I was on a fucking roll with. And then like I was almost at the 4,000, but then I got really sick. I got like, I think was mold sickness. And it fucking knocked me out for a couple months. And I watched the hours drop down. That's the thing. If you're not constantly putting out content, it removes you from the algorithm. So I was like on a roll. I was like ready to start getting monetized. I got sick. I didn't put out content for like literally a month and a half, really. And then I got back in. I'm like, oh my God, the numbers just all dropped. And I'm like kind of not starting over, but like it's also raising again quickly, I noticed too. So I think like once I get back into it, it'll start rising again. But it's like interesting. If you want to do this, you got to really fucking do it. Like you can't fuck around really.
So the consistency thing that you said.
Yeah.
So like my buddy, he's like pretty good with social media. He gave me that one tip. Like you got to post pretty much like every day.
Yeah.
And like you just get pushed more in the algorithm. That's for like probably everything, like even like YouTube and like Instagram and everything. Because like I was posting like all those videos every single day, and I definitely got a lot more followers. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna lean off, just like chill out. And I'm like, all of it definitely stopped. I was like, damn.
That's what happened to me, because I think what happens is the people who watch your content, when they click on a video, it actually shows in their feed quicker. So if you're not posting a video that day, you've lost their attention. They're already on to somebody else. And once they're on to somebody else, it's hard to get you back in their algorithm.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're going to be in my algorithm now with your food videos.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I need those views.
Okay. So this is I like to throw philosophy questions in here. And this is an interesting question because I was trying to break this down with one of my friends once and we couldn't really come up with an answer. So what is laughter? Why do people laugh? Have you ever thought of that? Like what is it?
First I'm gonna I gotta say something before I actually try. So we were barking outside of Raven the other day and we were trying to get people to come in, and they said that laughter was overrated. And we were just like, what? We were
like you're trying to get him to the show and they're like, laughter's overrated.
Yeah, he just like, laughter's overrated. And me and George Blaha looked at each other. We were like, I've never heard that before. I don't even know what that like it like
what
means.
Does it mean?
I don't know what it means, but I was like, is it overrated?
I mean, you were probably just trying to not go to your show is what it was.
But like it definitely sent me into like a little like thought like process. I was like, what does he mean?
Okay, so this is perfect timing then. So what did, in your thought process, what did you come up with about the purpose, the meaning of laughter?
Yeah. Nah, I just think it's just like a tension break from just like life and stuff like that. Like we all go through such stress and everything. Yeah. I have read a book one time and like the quote, and I'm botching this up, is just like we basically all suffer through something. Yeah. So just like laughter is just like, that little break in tension is just like a nice little like euphoria hit of like, like, oh, that was funny, like that was nice. And just like I'm gonna let you know that I liked it or I loved that by like laughing, It's what my friend and I were talking about when we were having this conversation was my friend said he thinks it's his description was that he thinks it's like a way for us to say, oh, we're okay. Like when you think about when someone trips and falls and like at first you're like, oh shit, are they okay? And then they get up and you're like, oh, like, and you start laughing about it. I'm like, that's an interesting observation. And like, I wonder if that applies to all kinds of humor, but it's like it's like a tension and release. Like it's like, oh fuck, like things are going to get fucked up. And then, like it's okay. Yeah, you know what I mean? And exactly. I think comedians kind of channel that. Like I think a really good comedian, like they say something that the audience is like, what is he going to say right now? And like, you kind of like toe the line of it kind of being a little bit offensive, but not overly offensive. Cause it's like, oh, we're okay. We got through this together. You know what I mean? Have you ever said any, has any of your material ever gone like over the line where you're like, shit, this is over the line of it's like getting too offensive for this crowd? So not much, but I do remember like the third mic I ever did. I went up and I saw like a bald guy and I was like, sir, what stage are you on? Because if I had a guess, it's the last stage. He didn't like that. And so there was like college guys in the crowd and they kind of liked it. Yeah. But like the rest of the people, all older people, they were like, like, ugh, that was, I was like, yeah, I knew. He might have actually had cancer too. No, I think he was a pilot or something like that. Like he had a pilot hat and stuff. But I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't equal out cancer, actually. My bad. But yeah, no. That's like one of the worst things I probably like said. I was like, I'm never saying something like that again. Sometimes I'll do crowd work at music stuff. Like, when you go see like a musician perform and they'll kind of like say stuff to the audience in between their songs. Sometimes I'll kind of do like little crowd work when I'm performing music events. And one thing I'll ask is like, if I see a party there, I'll try to be like, oh, what are you guys up to today? A birthday party? And I remember this one time, there was like a group of women together. I'm like, so what are you guys here for today? And everyone got really silent. And I was just like, what are you here? Like, I kept like nagging them. I'm like, what are you guys here for today? And they're like, she has cancer. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I didn't know how to turn it around. I'm like, oh, like, what do you say to that? I was like, well, everybody clapped for her recovery. Like, I was like trying to just like fix the moment right there. Yeah. Definitely dug yourself in a hole right there. That's why, that's like a perfect example why I'm like afraid to try, but like, I know that I got to do it, Yeah. Or some of the skilled comedians do get an insult They do insult somebody, but then they find a way to like turn it around. Like win him back over. You spill some water on that. All over myself. But yeah, so any bombs, like any epic bombing stories that you've had? Besides the one I just told you? Nah, I bomb every day, pretty much every other week. What was the one that's really bad? Yeah, I don't like. Okay, so the very first time I ever went to an open mic, I said, fuck it, I'm going to New York and I'm going to try a New York open mic. Yeah. And I was supposed to do 5 minutes, but I only got through 3 because I was just doing terribly. And it did not help that the dude next, right after me was a 10-year vet. And he like did a beautiful 5 minutes. And then the host was like, yeah, that's the difference between him and him. Like a newbie and a 10-year-old vet. And I was like, But that was my first time, and I was still like, I'm gonna do this. Like that, in a way, like that just drove me to like go back to that place and crush.
Yeah,
you know,
dude. There was a guy yesterday, a really creepy guy at the show yesterday. That he kind of had he just had like a very like autistic kind of just stare. Like he there was something off about him. Like something was just really off. And then afterwards he came up to me and he was like, I'm an artist and I didn't like anything I saw today. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, nothing. And he's like, I didn't like a single one of their set. And like, no, I like, by the way, I liked like everybody's set. So no offense to you or anybody who performed that day who's listening. Like, there was like there was like that guy everybody was amazing, honestly.
It was a great lineup.
It was a great lineup. And I was like trying to kind of ask him, I was like, can you give me specifics? Like what in particular didn't you like? And he's like, it just wasn't for me. He was like, I'm an artist and I am very particular. And then he wouldn't give me any specifics. I'm like, nothing. And he was like, are you on Instagram? He was like trying to hit on me. And I'm like what the fuck?
Like, hey, I didn't like any of their stuff, but hey, you want to go out? Like,
And then he was like, here's my Instagram. And then I don't know, as a woman, I'm like, I have a hard time just being like, fuck off. Like, I can't just be like, fuck off. I'm like too friendly, I guess, for that. So I just kind of like looked at his Instagram in front of him to make it look like I was going to follow him. And then when he left, I just deleted it. I was like, I'm not following him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need
Smart move.
Get him on the podcast.
Smart move.
But yeah, he had like a psycho stare. Like he was just like, he didn't blink. And he just kind of just like, he's like, he didn't turn. He didn't look. He was just like, I didn't like anybody's set. He was just like, I didn't like anybody's set. And I'm an artist. And all right, now you know what's fucked up? His art was actually good. Like his
damn. So he knows a thing or two.
He does.
He knows.
He was like a comic book artist. I mean, we can get him up. We can look at his stuff right now. No, I don't want to. You know what? I don't want to give this guy. Fuck him. I was gonna say if he was a nice guy, I would show his work to everybody. But I don't even want to give him any clout because he's a dick.
Right. Smart move.
But he was also like, I think he was autistic. So.
Was he sitting like at the bar?
Yes.
On the corner?
Yes.
Like on the other side, like by the comedians?
Yes.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Did he talk to you guys too?
No, but I could just like see him. Like I was like,
yeah, he was very.
He came by himself.
Stiff. Yeah, he was very like, he came by himself. He was just very stiff and
glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I know who you're talking about.
Something was very off, and like I feel it. I always get like those guys hitting on me. Like I never get like normal, hot, nice guys hitting on me. It's always like that.
You just get the weirdos.
Yeah. Oh, I'm like a magnet. I'm a magnet for like married people, like weird people. Like I don't know what it is about me. It's the neurotic energy, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. You just admit it. They love it.
But yeah. All right. So I'm actually out of questions for you today. So I don't want to hold you hostage any longer. But is there anything you want to plug in for the podcast? Like anything you want to tell them?
Yeah, so right now I do run my own show out in Williamstown, New Jersey. It's called Good Food, Good Laughs comedy show. We have been on a little hiatus, but we'll be back most likely this spring. And I do help run Casa Duran, also, London Duran. Follow the Instagram page at, Casa Duran Comedy Club. Yeah. And you can just see me all over Philadelphia or South Jersey. Yeah. Bow.
I will put his Instagram link below. So anybody listening, if you like him and you want to check him out, if you live in the Philly area or New York City area, if he's over there, click on his Instagram. And again, if you like what you heard today, don't forget to comment on anything. Because by the way, helping me get myself in the algorithm, your comments actually help a lot to get me in the algorithm. So whatever, ask me a question. I do Q&A sometimes when I do a solo episode, so you can drop a question for me. I actually have an email down below as well, so you can email me a story you need advice on. You could hit on me in the emails, slip in the DMs, whatever you want.
It's content.
Yeah,
it's a comment.
That is it. Pranzata Podcast, episode 141. Have a good day, guys. Bye.